In the States or abroad, no one's safe from the talkers of fraud. In the States or abroad, no one's safe from the talkers of fraud.
The following goes beyond the show and beyond the gram to bring you all the fraud that's fit to be uncovered. This is the Fraudcast, and now, here's your fraudcaster and the woman behind Frauded by TLC on Instagram, Katrina.
Hello and welcome to the Fraudcast. With me today, I have, as always, Hanakawa.
Hello.
And a special guest sitting in with us today. We have Hetero Life Mate.
For some reason, I got taken up off the couch to come join you ladies, but I'm happy to be here.
He's joining us for the year-end fun and frivolity that we have in store for you today. Now, just a reminder, you guys, this is a spoiler podcast. You will hear spoilers if you listen to this podcast. So that's the point. Please keep listening. So, hi. How was your Christmas?
It was really busy, and I'm glad it's over. I feel so bad as an adult. You're like, I'm done. I don't want any more holidays. It was way too hectic, and now I'm in that time where I'm not sure what day of the week it is, but it's not time to go back to work yet, so.
No, not yet. Just keep feeding me cheese and cookies, and I think I'll be happy.
Well, you're in the middle of, like, what? You'd said last week, like, a couple weeks off in a row, right?
Yeah, I logged off my work computer and walked out. I didn't even bring it home with me, and that's not like me at all. So it's just like, deuces.
Wow.
I'm out. My boss is like, you have a couple hard projects when you come back, so you might as well make the best of it.
Yeah, even me. I mean, I only had 2 days off. I had the day I actually worked Christmas morning because we didn't have the kids till that afternoon. So I worked Christmas morning, and then I was off the 2 days after that. And even that, I was like, what day is it? How do you even keep track? It was weird.
Yeah, I think I have to go to the office tomorrow, I think. And no one's going to be around, and it's very strange. But
that's almost the best part, though, when no one's around, because then you can kind of just, I don't want to say slack, but you can just literally just enjoy being alone. So.
Right. Get me out of my Christmas flannel pajama pants. Well, we have a good show in store for you today. We are going to do our 2019 Fraud and Review show.
Wow. A yearly recap show in late December.
I know. Shocker.
How unique and different than everything else.
Well, we were founded on fraud.
Right.
So we thought we would do a nice recap of all the fraud that we've encountered this year, at least the top fraud moments.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. But I guess these are the most impactful, most talked about. Fan favorites?
Yeah. Fan favorites. We had some fan sourcing out there to go with these. I figured I wanted to kind of just start off with, we can talk about the internal fraud, our talker of shits.
Oh. I was going to say that you said the show was founded on fraud. I was going to say, is that a comment about the original co-host of this podcast? But I didn't say that because I think
that's just a tragic coincidence, right?
Yeah, she actually had a court hearing today, waived her right to a speedy trial. They have a status check at the end of January. It looks like it's going to be a long time before it goes to trial or pleas out. So she was indeed arrested for fraud in excess of $50,000, and we rebranded immediately as the Fraudcast. So that started off, our podcast about fraud.
That was like the first time I was on the show with you.
Yeah.
It was after that.
Yeah, I gave you like 10 minutes notice and said I need a co-host.
Kind of like today.
Yeah. Well, the people have been asking about you, so I figured you were here. We were recording at a time where you're around,
but you don't need me anymore. I mean, you didn't never need me anyway. But
I always.
Hanakawa does such a great job as the co-pilot here on this ship. You don't need me.
This is true.
They just want to hear your velvety voice every few episodes.
I barely even watch this show that you guys talk about on this podcast. What the heck do you need me for?
Well, you can give us your opinion on some of the fraud if you think.
Yeah.
But without further ado, let's get into the rest of the top fraud moments of 2019.
Right. So we ranked most of these in order of, I'm not going to say importance, but order of what we think people were talking about the most. And I think we also did put out a poll to at least get the top 5 per our Facebook fans in the Facebook group.
The Fraudcasters on Facebook.
The Fraudcasters.
Come join
there
us.
You go. Brain farts on a holiday. So we can start with we'll say least talked about. And I don't know, it kind of rolls up into another one. But the first one we have is Veronica giving Tim the engagement ring that he was supposed to or did give to Jennifer.
Right. Tim and Jennifer of Before the 90 Days. And that fraud was what they showed on TV was Veronica giving Tim the ring that he had given her when they got engaged for him to give to Jennifer. And that kind of wasn't really how it went down. She had actually given him the ring to give to his previous girlfriend. So he actually, it was sort of true in that she did give it to him because he didn't have any money and he was going to propose to his previous girlfriend. So she gave him the ring, but the ring was then already in his possession when they were filming him getting ready to go to Colombia. But producers had them reenact it several times. So it was like she was giving it to him for the first time for Jennifer.
I think that was probably just too juicy for producers to overlook. Like, where'd you get this ring from? Oh, it's Veronica's. And I'm like, holy shit, are you serious? We have to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
They hung up a lot on that ring, and everyone was wondering when he was going to pop the question and if he was actually going to use that ring. Like, I was hoping he wouldn't, but whatever. We'll get
recycled ring.
Recycled ring. Which is not bad, except for when it's a recycled ring of your ex, that relationship didn't work out. It's already got bad juju on it. As Angela said, it's got the voodoo.
It's got the voodoo.
Yeah, so that was that one. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. This one's recent.
Okay, so the next one is Sasha and Emily of this current season of 90 Day Fiancé was throwing away the food at sister Emily's house. That's Betsy's house. He was staying there. The scene of him throwing all this quote unquote unhealthy food away in this trash can.
Yeah. Before we get,
is it because it wasn't spoiled yet? Is that why it's controversial?
No, it was entirely staged.
Oh, the whole thing was fake.
The whole thing was fake, but the producers planted all of that food there and staged the whole scene of having him throw it away. And they're terrible actors, so they couldn't get through it without smirking. And Sasha even confirmed on my Instagram comments that it was indeed producer driven.
Now, you said that the producers staged the food. That means they went to the grocery store and bought it themselves?
Or had it in their van.
It was probably production snacks.
Yeah, okay. All right.
The production people, they need some snacks to get through this, I'm sure.
Well, because, like, if we were filming a reality show here at our house, right, and a producer said, hey, why don't you go to your fridge and start throwing food away? I'd be like, you going to buy my groceries for me? Like, I wouldn't do it unless they were reimbursing me for the food.
And that was another part, besides the fraud, is more of the people being appalled that he was even throwing away food in a house that he was a guest in, right? So,
right. And it was all unopened food, perfectly fine. The trash can had a brand new, kitchen bag liner in it. It was completely staged. My source told me that they were the production snacks, like that they keep in like the van or whatever, but they brought them in. And as somebody pointed out too, like, who keeps snacks like that in the fridge, the cabinet on top of the fridge, especially somebody Betsy's height? Like, that was a dead giveaway.
Yes, well, okay, her height, yes, because that's where we hide the snacks to hide them from the kid.
Well, yeah, but she didn't have kids at her house.
That's
she
true.
has David there, who
and I'm
like
short
he should be
too,
going to college. but
exactly. Oh, he's so cute though.
He is. He really is adorable.
And it's crazy because my boyfriend's little brother, I saw little pictures of him. He was just this little dough ball of rolls and a smile. And now he weighs like 60 pounds wet. Like, it was like he was born with all the fat he'll ever have in his lifetime.
Oh, God.
So
yeah.
cute.
David's a little chunker, but he's so cute. So, okay. So the next one. So that was, I guess, number 9. Number 8. The number 8 fraud.
We have a lot of them. So, like.
Oh, maybe they're not numbered.
We have 12 in total. So.
Okay.
Now we're going down to number 10.
Okay. So that was, going back to Veronica and Tim here, that was Veronica asking Tim and Jennifer about their sex life over Skype.
Ugh, just so cringy anyways. Like, that was just so weird.
Right. So the scene was Tim and Jennifer are in Colombia and they're on Skype with Veronica, and Veronica asks them how their sex life is, because that's, you know, the running story throughout their season between Tim and Jennifer. And the sources confirmed that that was entirely producer driven, and they scripted that for Veronica to ask that question.
I'm starting to sense a theme here.
And what's that?
Producer driven.
There's a reason why we have the podcast.
Show is kind of
that's the whole reason for the show. Huh? Got it.
I mean, there's pockets of reality that I think the producers use to draw on, but you can usually tell those scenes, and it's usually when the cast member has like this smirk on their face because they've done it probably 10 times.
Right.
So when she's like, "How are things physically?" You're like,
so unnatural. Ridiculous question. So, yeah, so that's that. That's the 10, number 10.
Number 10. So we're on number 9.
Yeah.
And that is one of my favorite cast members from 90 Day the Other Way, Jihoon. And so it came out is that he was running all his interview statements through his translator first. Now, I don't have much history with this fraud area, so you'll have to...
Well, what he was doing is it appears that he can speak a decent amount of English, because his interview segments that were in English appear to be pretty decent, but he actually had an English level of about 1 out of 10. And so what he was doing was running everything that he was saying on those interviews through his translator app and reading them in English. That wasn't his like natural English capability when he was speaking on camera. And they also did have a translator on set.
They did. And that's hard too, because I know from trying to be immersed in other languages how like you want to be sure what you're saying is right. You know, you're like, let me just make sure this is what I want to say. But yeah, I think with Marcel, they just have him speaking in Turkish, right?
I think for most of it, yeah.
I guess I'm surprised if, you know, do it on the level that you're comfortable with. I don't know, but that wasn't too bad.
No.
The next one's fun. The next one's from this season, 90 Day Fiancé season 7, and that has to do with the prenush.
That's a prenup for those of you who not in the know.
Oh, thank you.
The prenuptial agreement. So, you know, they're casually sitting in the kitchen talking, and Sarah, the ex-wife of Mike, comes out and says, "Are you going to get a prenuptial agreement?" And so this sparks, 2 episodes of drama between Julianne and Mike regarding having a prenup or what it is, or, you know.
Right.
It goes in deep, but that was on trend with being producer-driven.
Right. That was scripted. Producers told Sarah to ask that question. She wouldn't normally have asked that question in such a manner, in such a way, and brought it up right there in the kitchen.
Right. And I think even in Mike's live and Sarah's life, they were really insistent that they didn't even want that to be part of the storyline. And I'm assuming they can't say no, so it ended up being the storyline. So.
Right. I mean, we've had this conversation before about when the producers ask them or tell them to say certain things or certain storyline scripted lines, how much resistance any of the cast members actually give in response when they go along with it. So
yeah.
that was one where she, they used it and she said it, so could only have been but so much resistance.
Exactly. Or after they sign the contract, who knows what's in that contract of, you'll get your fingers cut off or something if you say anything.
Okay, so that was that. What are we on now? 7?
We're on number 7. Back to
So
Tom.
number 7 has to do with, we're going back to before the 90 days, the Darcy and Tom storyline. Darcy was in London and Tom was taking her to the bar to meet up with an ex-girlfriend of his and her friend. And that ex-girlfriend was Roussel and her friend Daisy. And that was complete fraud because Roussel was not Tom's ex-girlfriend. It was somebody he knew casually. She knew him casually. He had called her and asked her to do a favor for him, show up at this bar with some friends and pretend like, they'd been together for a while. And that's
quite the favor.
They thought, no, what's the worst that can come out of this, right? But then, so they show up and it's this whole storyline of him having his ex-girlfriend and her, giving her opinion on Darcy or whatnot. But
I won't do it.
What?
I won't do it.
What do you mean?
Darcy voice.
Oh my goodness.
No idea what you're talking
Can I
about.
go on the top 10 list of craziest conversations? So the whole conversation was bizarre.
Yes, because it was entirely scripted and cut and edited because my sources told me about what was filmed and then what actually ended up on the screen, and they cut quite a bit of what they'd actually filmed and made it a lot smaller and a lot less of a big deal than they originally had made it seem like during filming.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, number 6?
Number 6.
It's all
Pillow
you.
Talk. Pillow Talk filming. I think we did this in our last episode of Fraudcast. Basically, for the Pillow Talk cast fans, like myself, who think they're watching the entire episode and that they're snipping the bits that they reacted the best to. We kind of went in deeper to realize they only film clips of it and it's done, months ahead and deep into it. But that's kind of disappointing because I was hoping
that is disappointing.
The whole episode,
Well, and they do this whole hurry up, it's about to start, at the beginning of the episode as if to make it look like they're watching it in real time. I think even this week they had Tim oh, I'm stuck in traffic, I'll be right there.
I know. It's just oh, this is bad. Knowing it's just because I know it's bad. That's the only reason why you're ruined it. But
they're not watching the whole episode and they're filming it weeks to months in advance.
Yeah,
that's very disappointing. Well, what about the couple, the girl who cooks dinner in bed?
David and Annie.
Yeah,
you really like David and Annie.
Does she do? Okay, so how does that work? I mean, is that like a cooking show where she has the meal prepared in various stages, kind of put away in storage, and so she's able to pull out her bok choy, whatever, midway through the show, and it's already been made up till that point, or is she actually in the bed cooking the meal?
I think she's probably actually cooking, knowing Annie.
Yeah.
But
So he doesn't need to find this. This is the stuff I want to know about.
this is the stuff you want to know. Is she
Yeah.
really cooking the food? So we're gonna have to figure that out.
Right.
But I think what that also feels like. I don't know if you guys have ever watched YouTube mukbangs.
No.
And it's literally people eating on the camera for like an hour or two.
Why?
So
But why though?
Because it's cool to watch.
To watch people eating?
Yes. It's almost up there with like ASMR. Like they'll cook the food and then they'll eat like a just gigantic bowl of noodles while they talk to fans live. It's a thing.
Oh my God.
And I think Annie would actually, I hope she's listening one day, she should do a YouTube channel where she just does mukbangs and answers questions.
Well, to the listeners of the Fraudcast, just say that you know that this show is not done in that way, that this is indeed in real time. I'm going to leave the show for a few moments because I hear one of our dogs barking downstairs. So I'm going to go let them outside.
Okay.
So we're not going to like stop recording the show and then resume and I'm still here. There will be a portion of the show where I'm not here because this is being done in real time.
He's like, oh,
Okay,
darn,
go
I
take
have
care of
to
the
be
dogs.
gone for a moment. It's too funny. So now we get into the top 5.
The top 5. So the number
meaty ones.
5 most fraudulent is Caesar's entire storyline.
I love this one. This one, I think, was added by someone in the Facebook group. The entire storyline.
Right. Like not even one scene, but like everything about his storyline and his phone conversations, his making of the plane reservation that clearly he didn't make because if he actually made the plane reservation and didn't have the funds, insufficient funds, it would have told him immediately. The phone call to the airline representative that was probably just a PA in another room. There's multiple scenes where you can see him holding different phones, making phone calls.
He had 3 different phones and one was like glittery pink. I'm like,
yeah,
we need
better.
to do better.
Do better.
Need to
so
what
Caesar
is it? Go back to doing better. But his phone, his tears, I think someone actually Googled the number that was on the phone. Or maybe the first 3. I forgot what it was, but it's
right.
It's a New York City number, and we all know what's.
It was like, upstate New York, like cell phone number that didn't belong to any airline.
No. So, oh my God.
Completely fraudulent. Every time he had a
that.
single tear dropping down his cheek.
Yes.
So the story on them, too, was that they had actually broken up prior to filming, that they had really been dating but broken up prior to filming, and she wasn't really willing to. She was only willing to film a limited amount, which we saw at the end when she showed up on screen.
Mm-hmm. Which I think even then they still had to coax her with some kind of payment.
Oh, yeah, for
just
sure.
do that.
But TLC and Sharp sprung to actually film in the Ukraine. So,
Well, I mean, they could have already been there anyway, since we know some of the current cast is in Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, they could have conveniently been there. Said, hey, Maria, we're actually down the street.
That's
you
a good
want to record, right?
Yeah,
they were out there filming maybe around that time, because it was like, really bad with timelines, but it seems like October was like the time for a lot of the current cast. Yeah.
Right. And Mike and Natalie are currently, as what they show on the show, in the Ukraine. So in real life, we know Mike is in the United States and Natalie's in the Ukraine, but they were filming together. So yeah, they could quite possibly have just taken advantage of the fact that they had a crew there on the ground. Yeah. Okay. Number 4.
I like how they just put entire storyline. So
this was a Facebook group fan submission.
And I still love it. Darcy's storyline is not actually real. Like, I don't know if we have proof that it is or isn't, but I mean, she's like a 90-day alumni. I mean, her and Angela have been on a lot of shows. So, I mean, Angela's storyline aside, but Darcy, it just seems like she has a cycle of falling in love, ruin love, come back from losing that love. I found another love. So it doesn't seem like anyone's really thinking that her storyline is real. So
yeah, and everything that we learned about Tom being a fraud, and then things that we saw happening on social media with Darcy's Viking boyfriend and all of these other things lead us to believe that she was not actually in a legitimate relationship with Tom during that filming.
Or maybe her idea of what a relationship is different than everyone else. because and this is what like threw me off, is she was with Jesse for how many years? How many whatever? And then she talks about how she's been friends with Tom on Facebook for a certain amount of years, so it's like they were practically dating for 2 or 3 years. She literally like deletes the previous relationship out of existence. It didn't happen. I don't understand the timeline on that. But
yeah, like what is she? She was talking to Tom for 4 years, but she was seeing Jesse during that time, and then allegedly this other Viking boyfriend guy. I don't know, Darcy. Or his hetero life mate with his imitation. And we know Darcy's coming back with Tom for another season. So there you go.
We'll see, right?
We'll see what they're trying to pull on us.
It's gonna be like the last season where like it ended with Jesse dumping her and then her going somewhere else. So this one's beginning with maybe she's leaving Tom this time. Who knows? The last episode of before the 90 days, if that's what it was, he broke up with her on the phone, didn't he?
I think so. Well, it was it the breaking up on the phone, or do we fast forward to the tell-all, which we know was actually filmed months before the show on air stopped running?
It's like wormholes. I don't know. I can see why someone put that up there because it's so messy. You can't. It's unbelievable.
The whole thing. But
which kind of moves us on to number 3, unless you had anything else for.
No, I mean that will just that story more will be revealed, as they say.
Right. Keep watching. So Tim and Jennifer are number 3.
Back to Tim and Jennifer.
And this one is their whole storyline.
This was like
their entire storyline.
Fraud on TLC.
Yes.
Which
is what we like to report about.
Tim and Jennifer of Before the 90 Days, what we saw on screen was them meeting in Colombia, allegedly for the first time. And then as they struggled their compatibility struggled. Mm-hmm. And what we learned was that they had actually already met prior to filming that. They'd met in Mexico, decided they didn't like each other. He came back from Mexico after only a couple of days. Then the show calls and says, we want to put you on. So they told TLC that, okay, we'll meet for the first time. So TLC didn't even know that they'd actually met prior in Mexico.
See, that's crazy. Or I guess that one's kind of funny, too, because there's a trend of TLC contacting people like a second too late. Like, oh, we came back from meeting and then TLC called,
Right.
Or I applied and you didn't get, in Caesar's case, they didn't get back to him until after the relationship ended anyway. So,
right.
I mean, if I were the opportunistic person, I would have probably done the same thing. We still wanted to be on the show, right?
Right.
It's just, it gets into the whole, they're not getting along, and then even the proposal and Jennifer's reaction and all that, just purely scripted on their part.
Right. But
on top of the scripting of TLC.
It's scripting, it's like Inception, right? Because it's scripted within scripted.
Pretty much.
When you look at it with the perspective that they'd actually already met and decided they didn't like each other, everything that you see from that storyline, it makes a little bit more sense. You know, it's not happening in real time. They're just pretending. On top of that, you get TLC fraud, whatever they're putting on top of it. So it's fraud upon fraud upon fraud. So it's this wormhole inception of fraud.
But I think that's pretty much, I mean, you hate to say everything about it was, but pretty much.
Yeah. And if you want more details on that, I think we covered that in episode 2.
Is it number 2?
Episode 2 is, I think we covered the Tim and Jennifer story. Number 2.
Number 2.
The
entirety of this person is number 2.
Can you guess what it is? It is Tom Brooks is a fraud on Instagram. So
now this is when I kind of came into learning about you, actually.
Because I did break that story, yes.
Because there was an avalanche of Tom memes, and Tom, I don't even know what was going on. But there was a whole bunch of like memes about Tom. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
So I will let you explain that entire.
Well, what had happened was shortly after the Tom's ex-girlfriend at the bar scene, and I had posted this information that I'd learned that it wasn't really his ex-girlfriend and that he didn't actually have money. He lived with his parents. Shortly after I posted that, fans and followers started to, I guess, dig into Tom's Instagram. And they started putting together pictures that Tom had posted as if they were his own, with hashtags like luxury lifestyle, pictures of at resorts, fancy resorts, out for dinner and drinks, yachts. There was a private plane story in there that was like a video where this guy is filming and he films his husband saying hello in the video. Tom had completely lifted the entire video. And people started putting this together and finding the original posts, which were posted like weeks to months before Tom posted them. And we found, I don't know, there was like 10 or 15 of these that we just kept posting and showing the original post followed by Tom's post and the hashtags. So ultimately, he ended up taking him down, and he had a couple of different stories as to why he was doing it. I think he said it was a joke. Then he said it was a social experiment. And then I think he said, yeah, it was like ads or something. And none of these things, there's a million reasons why none of those things are believable.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Everything's a joke.
It's just a joke between me and friends.
Right. Whenever TLC people get caught, it was just a joke. We were just playing. It was funny.
We never got the number one reason for these kinds of posts, which is I was hacked.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
We never got that one.
And I mean, when he did it, I mean, the internet is getting more clever. You know, you used to be able to just lift photos and nobody would know where you got them from because you got them from some person who probably doesn't even know who you are. But yeah, people are really smart, especially, you know, some of the pictures that you see around our stock photos that people will use also.
Yeah.
Which is just.
And the photoshopping is getting so good. My Photoshop skills are terrible, but other people have some really good skills. You know, yeah.
Right. My Photoshop skills are within the limits of editing for my photographs.
Actual photographs.
Wedding photography, I can smooth you out like no one's business. But there's some magic with some of these pictures. But my boyfriend's a Photoshop guru, so he'll usually point out every they should have done better moment.
Fun.
Right, yeah. Well, that brings us to number 1.
Yeah, and this is number 1 by a landslide.
A lot of people voted this one to be number 1. And it's still controversial because I don't even think it's a case closed either way. And so this one has to do with Jenny and Smee from 90 Days the Other Way, this previous season. And it was the fact that he was married, and more so the fact of if Jenny knew or didn't know that he was married prior to filming.
Correct. Yeah. I think like during the season, people started to suspect that maybe his secret about why he couldn't marry Jenny, why he kept putting her off, was that he was going to be in an arranged marriage. But I think very few people actually suspected legitimately that he was actually already married. And we found out, you heard it here on Frauded by TLC on the Instagram account, where he was married and had been for 2 years. And the controversy stems from whether or not Jenny knew. And I have sources, and based on my interpretation of what's out there, I believe that Jenny knew, but there is no hard evidence on either side of whether she knew or didn't know. And so it's just a matter of your own interpretation of, what did you say, like acting skills and...
Yeah, and another part of it for me is if she knew, for me it was more of when did she know?
Right.
And how deep was she in the relationship when she did find out? Because even, when she was crying and he was being dragged away, all that scene.
Hysteria.
It was a little intense, and I think that's what made people think it was acting. It's hard because, we all know that actors and actresses can produce tears. I'm not saying that she's a terrible actress or if she was acting at all, but it was just really weird how that all happened to get caught on camera. And
the angry mob showing up at her door was not caught on camera.
Yeah.
Coincidentally enough, the camera crew had just left, and then they hopped a plane and came right back to India. That's suspect to me.
So that one's still lingering.
And
who knows?
we know she's filming for another season, so their story is continuing. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be more as to what she knew and when she knew it. But I don't know. Because they've made it pretty clear that the story they're going with is she learned on camera like the same time the rest of us did. Which, again, I'm on my little island of she probably knew. So before that. And I'm fine. I'm fine being on that island by myself.
The split vote.
There's perfectly valid evidence on both sides. So believing she did know or didn't know, there's good evidence to support each position. Neither one is wrong. They're just different.
Right. And so if she's filming, then maybe we'll get more information too if he left his wife. Because I know in India that could be a little bit tricky. You don't just say I want a divorce and walk out. I think there's a lot of cost associated with that, both socially and probably money-wise. Who knows? I would love to talk to somebody who knew exactly how that worked and how divorce worked, but I guess we'll just see.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. And see what we believe.
So that was it for our top frauded moments in review.
Yeah. Our 2019 fraud in review.
And so next we have our social media roundup. So there's a lot on Instagram happening. There's
you would think with the holiday people would be easing up, but no, I think it made people crazier.
I think them being able to be home gave them more time to be on the internet, which caused the problem because they just all of a sudden just spiked up. So I'll start with the first little piece. And that's actually regarding Julia Black Caviar. And you know who this person is. She's the one who did the Simpsonized photos of like most of the 90 Day casts. And I think even you had one too.
I did have one. She did one of me in advance of a joint giveaway that we were doing. And the winner of that was supposed to get a Simpsonized drawing and unfortunately never got it because of what you're about to tell us.
Gotcha. And so some people noticed. I didn't even notice because I was following her, but not until people said that her Instagram had disappeared and no one was able to find her. She had a lot of orders in queue that weren't being fulfilled. And so kind of going through a lot of people's comments, someone had said that there was an email to contact her and that she had said that her account was actually hacked and deleted. So there was some people So there were some people suggesting to contact her at, it was like an iCloud email that someone had and said that they were actually able to get their commission complete. I did actually reach out to that email, but the bounce back was that email had been deactivated.
Oh.
Right. So, and the last like evidence of her artistic presence online was a DeviantArt account. And she's just registered as a Russian artist that had one of her likes being The Simpsons and Family Guy, which is almost the same kind of artistic style. But for those who paid her through PayPal, there's a way to dispute the charge on your PayPal account. And so you may not be able to get the artwork, but if you dispute it, you'll most likely get your money back for it. It's unfortunate, but, you know, you got to be able to... And for the
person, I've been in communication with her, the person who won that through a giveaway that I did in conjunction with her, she never got her art. And so in consolation, I'm sending her a Fraudcast swag bag instead. It's not the same, but, you know, it's something. And we do sincerely apologize since we did team up with her and then this happened to people. A lot of people, you know, commissioned artwork from her. And I feel terrible about all these people who went to her based on any connection they may have gotten through us. And we feel bad about that. And I'm very sorry for all of that. Shows you can never trust people online, right?
It's hard. And, you know, a lot of the times with art commissions, too, people do get spooked when they get an onslaught of orders. And so, I mean, we don't really know what happened to her, but, you know, some people can't fulfill, so they run away, or she actually did get hacked and deleted. But either way, I hope people at least get their money back from that. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to cover the next one or I can just shotgun them. It's up to you.
Why don't you just shotgun us right through?
Alrighty. So next bit is that Natalie is finally a Ferrari. I don't know if anyone followed the last messages between her and Mike. There was some talking about how he said she wasn't a Ferrari. That sparked her to post another post that he commented on. And she asked if she was finally a Ferrari. He says, yes, you're beautiful. And so I guess that ends that conversation. She's a Ferrari, and it seems that they're doing okay on the social media.
All right.
Paul and Creanie are back together for now. Creanie started a YouTube channel to speak to her fans about motherhood and being in the U.S. These YouTube videos are going to be in Portuguese. I think that's the main audience she's trying to reach out to. So there might be translations out there, there might not, but that's you know, her choice and what she wants to do with her channel. In more fun Christmas drama, Laura wished everyone a Merry Christmas by spreading dirt about Evelyn all over Instagram, about her basically cheating on Corey with this one, I would say not mutual friend, but he seems to be a group friend. Evelyn then kindly responded back by saying she's pressing legal charges against Laura and her ex-friend, which I don't know if she can based on what.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what cause of action she has, but okay.
Yeah, maybe to spook them. As of now, it seems like Evelyn's done responding, and Laura's actually more active on Instagram right now. She's been making videos like those, what do you call those things?
Filter?
Snapchat videos with the filters. They're kind of bizarre, but interesting that she's doing them. I don't know. Moving on, Larissa and Debbie were kind of catfighting on Instagram, talking about the House of Horrors. There was a lot of back and forth on that. But then they finally, Larissa posts Truth's Instagram post, an Instagram post suggesting a truce between her and Debbie, and hoping that they can get along in the future. And it's interesting timing because there's been rumors that Larissa is still with Colt and that they were filming another season together. And then I think, Frauded, you said there was a follower that...
Yeah, there was a Larissa and Debbie sighting in Las Vegas at a liquor store, of all places, buying whiskey. And they appeared to be getting along just fine, Larissa and Debbie. So, we know that Colt has filmed. We know that there is currently filming. We know that there's a whole mess of stuff that's happening. Maybe it's for Happily Ever After with Colt and Larissa and Eric and Vanessa and Jess, Caroline, and in this whole mess. That I need like a dry erase board thing to like flowchart to figure it out. But we know that they're filming. There's filming happening. So could this stuff on Instagram all just be hyping that up? Are we going to get another surprise from TLC saying, "Oh, a new season of Happily Ever After" or whatever coming up?
It makes you wonder because we also have to throw Eric in the mix too.
Yeah, he's back on Instagram.
He's back on Instagram. I don't know why he disappeared. I guess I didn't follow him, but
I wasn't that invested. No,
he is starting from the ground up. So I don't even know if he has his $100 cameo up there anymore.
I don't know. I try very hard not to care about Larissa and Colt and Debbie and that whole thing, but they keep popping up. It's like it's like a fungus that keeps coming back. And it keeps growing. Like I try to ignore it, and it's just like then it pops up. And Larissa sent me a Christmas message on Instagram, which was very nice of her. And like, why do they keep popping up? So they, we can't get rid of them
because it's coming. It's coming.
They're like the herpes of reality
90-day
TV.
Full House. It's going to be all of them under one roof.
Oh God. Like Celebrity Big Brother, and they get to vote each other off the island.
Debbie knows
Survivor
best.
All mix it up.
All right. Well, that's all I have for Instagram. There's always so much more, but you can only get through so much, honestly.
No, yeah. Yeah. Social media is just a hot mess. And so we try to pick and choose what, to share because we could spend hours doing it, and let's be honest, nobody cares that much. So let's close this out. What do you say? We're about to, you want to give us some shout outs from the dump?
Yeah.
There we go. He's good at shout outs.
Do we need to reintroduce you? You guys are welcome back to the show, Hetero Life Mate.
Hey, how's it going? Dogs are taken care of.
The dogs?
They're in the room now, here in the studio, so you might hear their collars jangling. What do you need me to do now? We're going to do shout-outs?
Shout-outs.
All right. I can do some?
Yes.
All right. Let's see. We'll do, this one's from Kelly. Kelly says, "You all are doing a great job. Thanks for your hard work."
Thank you, Kelly.
That's a good one. I think she means both of you. Good job, Hanakawa.
Yay. Thank you.
All right. The next one is from Lori. Lori says, "Hi, you both are great. Tick has gone too
TLC.
far." Oh, TLC has gone too far. It looks like Tick.
I'm sorry about him, you guys.
I'm going to say Tick. Tick has gone too far with the abuse not being checked. sends a bad message to the person coming over that they have to put up with it. I will not be watching this season, but I will be listening to you. Kimberly and Sam, hello.
No, that's a different one. That's a separate.
Oh, sorry. I'm new here, guys. I apologize.
Have you ever been on the radio ever before in your life?
Nope. I'm new to this. New to this whole broadcast thing.
He's lying.
All right. The next one is Kimberly and Sam, hello.
Just want to give a shout out to Kimberly and Sam. I hope you're enjoying your drive all over the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah, that's right, Kimberly and Sam. Who are they?
Kimberly and Sam.
Of course.
They're a husband and wife.
All right. Okay. Good job. Drive safe, you guys.
And they have a really, really cute dog.
Remember, as you're driving across the countryside, like those big, like Royal Farms or Wawa, or those like huge, like, all Sheetz is another one. Those big, like gas station, service station, snack bar type places. Always a good place to stop. Mm-hmm. That's my free tip for the day.
Free tip. Stop by
They were just
Wawa.
in Scranton.
Oh, are you partial to Wawa? Hankawa?
I've only heard of it. I've never been to one before.
It's pretty magical.
Yeah, it's funny because I see posts and everyone's just like the Wawa. I'm like, at one point, I guess
people
I'm
feel
gonna have
very
to find
strongly.
and try this place. So we'll see.
Yeah, people feel very strongly about their Wawa.
It keeps.
I get it. All right. Is that it? Do I have any more to read?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, I'm going to go down and finish dinner now. It was a pleasure joining you, ladies.
Okay,
Thank
what are
you
we having for dinner?
We're having pork tenderloin and grilled asparagus.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
All right.
All right.
It'll be down there. Bye, Hanakawa.
Bye. Have a good one.
All right. Sorry about him, you guys.
He's always a hoot.
It's because you don't live with him. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. Well, let's wrap up 2019 with this last episode. You can find me, Frauded by TLC, on Instagram and Twitter at Frauded by TLC. You can find us on Facebook at The Fraudcasters is the name of our group.
So you can find me on Instagram with cactus_fruit_juice.
You can also get to us on our website, talkersoffraud.com. On the front page, there's the dump. Send us an email, fill it out. Send if you want a shout out, if you just want us to say hi, if you've got a message for us, go ahead and fill that out and send that to us. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts and you like what you're hearing, please go ahead and hit that 5-star review. Maybe leave a little message for us. It's not for our egos. It just helps the podcast show up in search, things like that. So if you find yourself so inclined to leave a review, we would absolutely appreciate that. You can also find our merch available at talkersoffraud.com/store. We have Fraudcast merch as well as Cast quote branded merch and all of that good stuff. So check it out if you're interested. Okay, so we're closing out year 2019, and we're going to be moving into 2020, a new decade, new fraud, new shows, new cast, and we'll be excited to see what they have to offer us, what TLC has to offer us in the way of fraud. I know for the Fraudcast, we are going to be looking at a lot of good stuff to come in 2020. We're looking at a Patreon. We're looking at other interviews. We're talking to some immigration officials that are, or former immigration officials that are giving us information on an opinion on some of the K1 and K3 visa process, and couples on the show about why they may or may not have gotten their visas. So we have a lot of good stuff planned for you coming up in the new year. So I hope you stay with us.
Yeah, I'm really excited about information about the visa process because that's a gigantic knowledge gap I have myself. I think probably every person has a knowledge gap on the K1 visas. So,
what does it really mean to be a sponsor and this sponsoring someone for 10 years? And what does that really mean? And
exactly.
If you're denied or recommended for denial. all of those different things. So we're going to have somebody on the show that's going to explain all of that to us, and as well as give their opinions on maybe why Michael's was denied and why Annie's wasn't denied, and other thoughts. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so lots of exciting things coming in 2020. We'll hope you stay with us as we move into the new year. And I am Frauded by TLC, and I'm dumpster diving so you don't have to.
You can find your Fraudcaster on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Frauded by TLC, and on the web at talkersoffraud.com. This Fraudcast has been produced and edited by yours truly. Art by Sarah Dawdy. Music written, produced, and performed by Ooh Mommy. Segment producer at iHeart Reality TV Shows. Further assistance provided by many unnamed fraud consultants.